channel along with Danielle, who does it normally. So I'm sorry if I seem like I was away. I'm gonna close that all down, but I wanted to just get the hype going.
And with Danielle now in the chat, I don't have to be there either. So
no, you're good. You're good. She's good to go there. I will be watching this Stride gum commercial though.
So wow,
that's good.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
delicious.
You're gonna want to get that gum commercial in there.
It's mad intense.
Remember, click them ads.
Yeah.
Click them ads.
And subscribe.
Buy gum.
Buy gum and subscribe.
If I've learned nothing else, it's buy gum.
All right, I guess we can get this train rolling here. Hello! Whoops. Oh, that's weird. Everybody's gone. Oh, right, I know why. Bam. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Poll. I am Sal, standing in for Benny, because Benny, Rob, and Eligible Monster are, or Zodical are in Disney World right now, sunning it up, having a great time. The only thing that I wish upon them is hordes of mosquitoes and humidity, which, thankfully, being in Florida, I'm sure they will get plenty of. But I won't be doing this alone. Instead, I'll be joined by my lovely co-hosts today. First one up is Tiffany from ComicPOP, and of course, as always, our lovely and talented Sea Monster, who you might know from our other sister show, The Poll. Welcome, Sea Monster.
Hello.
And welcome, Tiffany, to the Weekly Poll as well.
Thank you so much. It's been a while.
I know, it's true. So Joel from Caped Joel has been kind enough to offer us a couple of topics that we're going to bash on through, and then afterwards, we might talk about a little indie picture that came out the weekend. Might be kind of fun to chat about. We'll see. I don't know. The name escapes me. I don't see any paraphernalia anywhere that might imply that I'm doing a bit, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so kicking things off, I just wanted to wish the lovely and talented Geoff Johns a hearty congratulations for becoming the new DC president of DC Comics. Dude is a huge writer, has created some amazing stories for DC. He's instrumental in the good parts of the New 52, and I wish him nothing but the best. That's kind of all I got to say about that.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I've heard nothing but amazing things about Geoff Johns. I love his name. You can do this when you're saying it.
Yes, he has a hilarious, used car salesman / back of the menu lawyer name.
Right? So I feel like every meeting that Geoff Johns leads, they're all going to have to do this as he comes in.
Yes, Geoff Johns.
Geoff Johns. Good morning, Geoff Johns.
Yeah.
He is the god of continuity, really. So I'm kind of happy to see that he is El Presidente of DC.
Seriously. I wonder what he will affect, what changes he will affect. I'm kind of curious, but, what he'll do. I mean, the fact is the dude's been a company man for so long that there's no way that, he's gonna be okay, I'm president. Now all of a sudden, everything's different. We're gonna get, a female Batman and everything's gonna change. I think it's just gonna be... You're gonna notice that you're dropping fewer books. That's probably what you're gonna see the most from Geoff Johns.
I feel like we'll see a little bit more of a push towards quality, and then maybe an ease up off some of that marketing content. I mean, but I'm not going off of Johns in a presidential sense. I don't know what fully corporate Johns is going to be like when he's in that head position, but from what we've seen in his work and over his career, he does have a very deep respect for continuity, for quality stories, and his pacing is really nice too. So I'm hoping not a lot of rushed releases and not too many marketing gimmicks.
Yeah, the one thing that I would love to see lose the most traction is these integrated ads.
Yeah.
I know that I think they learned their lesson about that Twix ad where it was half the page was an ad and half the page was art. That was rough.
The Snickers Doomsday ad?
But the Snickers Doomsday ad,
God.
I mean, it's funny. It feels hokey, but I remember when they used to do that 20 years ago with Hostess pies and or Zit creams. There was all kinds of integrated ads where they were Captain America's oh no, that Zit is out of control and the prom is just around the corner. So if you're worried that this is a trend that is going to sweep comics, it already swept them and then was swept under the rug, so you can only see probably a couple more of these.
I think it's really interesting that a man known for his continuity is coming into the president role as this whole rebirth thing is going on, and the whole initiative behind like going back to how things were, going back to like long running stories. So hopefully he can take this new thing that they're doing and just keep the ball going and not be like, okay, well, I'm gonna change all this stuff and who cares, and you know what I mean? Like hopefully once the tie goes on, he won't lose his mind.
Right.
Well, yeah, I feel like it makes perfect sense for Johns to be here during Rebirth when they're trying to bring everything back to classic DC. I think that's a perfect point. And yeah, we share the same fear in him being corrupted. Corrupted Johns is like my worst nightmare.
Right, up in that big corner office, you know. I assume it's huge, and there's like a really long sort of hallway that goes to it, and outside is a huge statue of Batman and a huge statue of Superman. It's really intimidating, and there's like a big bathroom in there and everything like that.
Yeah.
And he has like 2 secretaries.
I'm just imagining that scene when Homer Simpson gets hair and he goes into the executive washroom.
Yeah.
It's like rumpled, humble-looking Geoff Johns walking into the DC corner office.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
exactly.
I think given Geoff Johns' predilection for Green Lantern and the whole like Hal Jordan thing, Hal Jordan becoming corrupted by the power of the lanterns and becoming Parallax, I think Johns is hyper aware of the trappings that power holds, and hopefully, at the very least, we might get a really cool 0-hour event out of Geoff Johns' corruption. So no matter what, it's gonna be a hell of a toboggan ride. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
You could even see it as a deepest, darkest fear of his that he has written into his Green Lantern runs over and over and over.
Oh, yeah.
He has night terrors about this kind of thing, about like someone like Jim Lee or Scott Snyder having to come to him and like, Jeff, you're out of control. The power has made you drunk.
Oh, I can imagine the night before he got the call, he like wakes up in the morning from a night terror where that exact thing has happened. Right. Where it's like, Jeff, you're out of control. And he wakes up and he's like, oh, thank God it was a dream. And then he hears the phone ring and he picks it up. Right. And it's like, hello, Jeff. You're the president of DC. And he's like,
oh, no. What am I going to do? Real question is, what aren't I going to do? Congratulations to Geoff Johns for his promotion, I guess. That's kind of fun. Continuing with the DC trend, the original thing was like, hey, look at Superman from Supergirl CW's new costume. But the real joke is the poster and more the wording or phrasing on the poster that has really captured people's imaginations. We can talk more about costumes, but really quick, the poster for the teaser poster for Superman being integrated into the CW Supergirl universe is Superman is coming in Supergirl on the CW.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And it caused everybody to kind of like lose their shit for a little while and laugh their asses off.
You know what?
You've got to be careful of innuendos. That's like marketing and PR 101 is like you send it to the copy editing department to double check for innuendos unless the copy editor is an intern and saw it and went like, I got nothing to lose.
Right. It's either that or like they were like, okay, great poster, cool, whatever. We need something on it and we need to send it out in the next 10 minutes. So just whatever you want to put on there, just Superman and then something about being out with Supergirl, whatever, go for it. And they wrote it, and nobody saw it, and they got the proofs back, and they were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is why copy editing and design are important, and yet constantly undervalued. It makes me so mad, because I'm like, copy editor would have caught that. Copy editor, I mean, you would have been coming in that copy editor with how happy you were that they caught that.
Yeah.
You know, part of me is like, there is no way they don't know, and then part of me is like, I don't know. Corporate gets really dumb.
Yeah.
And they're just like, here it is. And then when there's a reaction, they're like, now I could definitely, I could see that.
Yeah. All they had to do was change one word. It just had to be Superman is coming to Supergirl on CW. And they said coming in, and they thought it was hilarious, I guess. Like, I'm reminded of, do you remember that awful Yogi Bear movie?
Yes.
Do you remember that awesome teaser poster where Yogi is behind Boo Boo and it says great?
You're using awesome in a loose term.
I say it was awesome because like I can't believe that for a period of time I could go to the movie theater or drive in my car and see gigantic images of Yogi Bear behind Boo Boo and a tagline that says "Great things come in bears."
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Without the context, like, or with the context, what does that mean? And they look so thrilled. Like if you've never looked it up, please by all means just Google it.
Thanksgiving bears.
Great Thanksgiving bears. What does that even mean? Spectacular. There's you know what it is. The poster, the copy editor saw that movie and was like, "There's no saving this movie. The only way I can save it is by implying there might be a big gay bear scene or in this stupid flick."
I love that. It's like, welcome to the weekly poll where we talk about Yogi and his great moment in the big gay bear scene.
It really brings a lot of fan theory to the DC Hanna-Barbera universe. I'm looking forward to seeing that actualized.
I don't know if you noticed,
big gay bear Hanna-Barbera universe.
Well, in the DC Hanna-Barbera comics, I noticed they didn't pull Yogi in.
No, it's weird.
It's weird.
Besides the fact that he's really boring and stupid.
What?
Maybe it's the fact that either Yogi wasn't available because he got really into the big gay bear scene, or maybe it was discriminatory towards his big gay bearness.
That's true. Yeah.
Could be.
Who knows?
Boo Boo is his cub, so I don't know. I mean, if you're not familiar with the bear scene, check it out. But moving back into comics, I do. What do you ladies think of the Superman costume, the CW Superman costume, compared to what we've got?
I mean, his Supergirl costume.
Yeah.
Yes. I like the emblem.
Yeah.
I like the costume. It's
nice.
fine. I always wish it were more blue than it is.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they had that one shot of him and her clearly kind of photoshopped together, and that image of him is really bizarre because it's almost like there was an edict that came down that said your Superman can't look as Superman-y as our Superman.
Right.
He looks so wooden too. He almost looks like a poorly posed figure because he's so weirdly shooped in, and then on top of that, the pose is really unnatural.
Maybe
and they're like,
it's like the mannequin, and they put his head and his hands on it, and they were just
and his hands are in that weird twisty position that no human being would ever naturally hold their hands. It's kind of like the actor was like, "Oh God, I've suddenly forgotten what to do with my hands. How would Superman hold his hands?"
Because he's like, wait, well, Superman's not a human. He's not a man. He's a Kryptonian. What do Kryptonians do with their hands? Oh, my God. They're like, click.
Maybe I'll just go with the mannequin thing.
Yep, just going to go with that. We'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've seen some other behind-the-scenes shot, and everything looked a lot better there. So, I don't know. The belt's a little weird. I don't know. The belt kind of weirds me out.
The belt is a little bit too solid. It's just a strap, and I would almost rather have that detail sewn in,
right,
rather than sitting on top like a belt, because you have this really smooth layout costume and then the belt just sitting on top of it, and it looks bizarre with the rest of the textures that you have going on. I like the way his hair is styled. I think that's absolutely perfect, but that's more of a casting choice.
Right. That's just, that's the man's hair. But I do like. I recognize that you need to break up that suit. If you it's part of my reason why I like the trunks on the Superman outfit in general, because when you take them away, when you lose the yellow belt and the red trunks, you just have this blue suit that just goes from head to toe blue, and then there's red on the back, but it's barely noticeable.
It looks like an old school Zentai Udaturaman style soup. He's Udaturaman. He's not Superman. He's not Super Dupe.
No.
He's Ultra Dupe.
It's just, you know what, I think when we see it in the show, when we see it moving, when we see it lit, in the daytime and the nighttime, I think that's going to change how we think about it, because right now, again, because it's so posed, because it's so static, because the cape is not really flowing, you know what I mean?
The photo editing looks weird, and I think this probably isn't a costume flaw, because you're right, we won't know until we see it in action and lift it off the page, but I think this might be a photo editing flaw. And if we're looking at some of these really simple copy editing faux pas, then I'm assuming that kind of rushness translated into the photo editing for that shoot. I mean, it also explains why he's photoshopped into it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think probably most of the complaints can come down to poor shooping.
Yeah. Definitely I got that sense. Especially the first image where it's him and her at the same time. I was like, a lot of people complained about how he looked, and I was like, yeah, it's lighting, it's coloring, it's Photoshop, it's just kind of meh. But I always liked the the Supergirl emblem, and I like that they kind of carried it over, but they didn't do the exact same thing. Like her emblem's, one color and it's like transparent, and his is like a solid actual thing. They also kind of integrated the Injustice idea of like the shield attached to the cape, which is like, you know what, if you're going to take liberties and you're going to try new things or try to influence on Superman's costume, do it on Supergirl. Like, if you're going to do it anywhere, like, play with it there. My issue, I think, when I was talking about, like, the belt and how it breaks up things, is that I think it's red. And it needs to be not red.
It is red. It
needs to be yellow to bring the outfit together, to pull in the accent colors.
Agreed.
Well, that's, I think that we were too afraid of making Supergirl and Superman too matchy-matchy, because hers has the gold or the yellow.
Yeah.
Their whole design is matchy-matchy.
I know. I think that the costume designers are probably concerned about that.
A little bit concernicus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love Supergirl in this image. This looks like one of those me-you memes where, like, I'm totally on fleek and you look like a wooden piece of trash.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, because it's like me, and you have this great, like, Supergirl power pose. Her outfit's pretty on point. Cape is a little stiff, but the rest of it looks pretty good. And then you have Supadupe, who looks like an OTP Ken doll.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he does.
It could be because...
I think when we see it in action, it'll probably be better.
Yeah. Well, and who knows? Like, the people are really digging on the CW DC universe, and normally, like, the cynic in me would be like, well, we will never see this costume reimagined because the show will be canceled before that time. But, like, I'm kind of shocked by just the fact that everybody seems to really love Flash, and the fact that, like, maybe with Supergirl on the CW and having the influence of those Flash people, like, maybe people will really dig it and it'll just grow and blossom, and we'll see a couple of iterations of Superman's costume over time.
Flash is good shit.
Yeah.
I am really happy with Flash. I'm still mad at Arrow, but I'm super happy with
Flash. Everybody seems to be kind of like soft on Arrow at this point. Like at this point I feel like Arrow is going the way of the supporting guest star character.
They killed Canary Lady. Mm-hmm. The Canary sang.
Yeah.
The super in shape superhero Canary sang, and now the show is over. That's how I feel.
You're like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay, because the Green Arrow comic right now is really great, so it's perfect timing.
Yeah. So getting into Superman a little bit, I also heard, and this is kind of like barely news, because like, it wasn't it always, was they announced that Man of Steel 2 is back on the slate.
Yeah.
Which is like, wasn't it always? I know that Batman vs. Superman had originally started out as a Man of Steel 2. They were like, Man of Steel 2 with Batman in it. And then it became, they were like, if we're going to put Batman in it, just make it about Batman. But
Batman's really the best we've got.
Exactly. We know this dude makes the money. Let's just put Batman in it. But then it eventually just became he literally we went from Man of Steel 2, Batman is kind of in this one, to Batman gets top billing and also Superman is in it.
Yeah.
My favorite Batman v Superman movie has to be the one that College Humor did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, with
the one where they meet on the roof
with Pete Holmes, where he's just like, "Why would you need my help?"
And Gordon takes off his glasses, and he's like, "Where did you go?"
Yeah.
That was the best Batman v Superman, and you know what? They were up against a lot, because we had that to compare to when we walked into the Batman v Superman movie.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like it, don't like it, Man of Steel. Going into this, I'm fascinated.
Yeah, like what the hell can they possibly do at this point?
Are you going to knee-jerk reaction to things that you've heard? Are you going to stand your ground? Are you going to be really angry about people's reactions or some people's reactions? Are you going to use the return of Superman, essentially, in the Justice League to change him and to influence where the Man of Steel franchise is going to go? Like, I'm kind of fascinated by this. Like it or not, like, it's going to be interesting.
Or one of my favorite things could happen. Well, it's a bitter favorite. It's when they totally give up and start skateboarding over sharks. They just start jumping those damn sharks all over the place. And then it becomes a Mystery Science Theater favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It could be any of these things, but, like, I feel like they're going to react in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And
my theory on it is that what they're doing is they're going to try to do another run at a tie-in to their overarching cinematic universe. Because I think they have an idea, after Suicide Squad, I think they have an idea of what they want their overarching cinematic universe to look like.
Yeah.
So now that they're well into Justice League production, now that Suicide Squad has come out and they've been able to demo test it amongst a lot of different demographics, I think they have an idea, and I think they're going to use Man of Steel 2 as another run at trying to tie it into an overarching cinematic universe. That's my theory of their attempt.
I think they would be afraid to not pursue something like that, considering that they know for a fact that there's a split about Man of Steel. Essentially, people either like it or they don't. But like, put in other characters that they do like, and you're more than likely going to sell the tickets. And at the end of the day, it's typically what they care about. And especially if they're going to be like, look, we put Man of Steel into the Batman v Superman movie, or we put Superman into that, and we're going to have the Justice League movie. Unless you set Man of Steel 2 prior to those events, you have to address the fact that there are superheroes in this world. Yeah. Unless you send him into space and he deals with Brainiac.
Which would be fine. I mean, like, it'd be a cool idea to just be like, get him out of here. Clearly, our version of Superman can't play well with others or interact with anybody without like murdering half of them. So why don't we just send him to a faraway asteroid and have him like, but we all know how that turns out, by the way. When you make Superman leave Earth for a long period of time and then have him come back, he still is whiny and tired, and it's called Superman Returns, and nobody liked that either.
Right, but this time it wouldn't just be like a single superhero leaving. There would be other people there to help to pick up the pieces.
Oh, you could do a War World Mongol story where he's actually
I have a feeling this echoes quietly of Planet Hulk, which is one of my absolute favorites. But I feel like maybe Batman and the Justice League sit around a table and be like, so some friends in another universe, I'm not going to say who, but something that almost worked for them was they sent their problem child into space with their own planet. Now, our problem child is a lot less vengeful and way more whiny, so I think he'd stay.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think?
Right? I was kind of hoping Superman might just go, like, be like, I gotta go on, like, walkabout in space. I gotta find myself. I gotta figure this whole thing out. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Irredeemable style walkabout in space, but hopefully he doesn't come back and goes, you know what? Everyone should die.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully. Oh, hey, he could run into the Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
That'd be kind of cool.
Back into the fold. Be like, no, it's okay. We're not going to talk about the others. Not Ryan Reynolds' Lantern Corps. This is a new Lantern Corps.
They make him into a lantern. Like, the first Green Lantern in the DCEU is just Superman.
Okay, no, stop.
Ryan Reynolds' Lantern Corps is the fever dream we all forgot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That was such a nightmare. Poor Reynolds.
Because of that, they're going to be really tentative to bring Green Lantern back in.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hoping that when they do, that we get Jon Stewart Green Lantern, because he's my favorite Green Lantern.
Easily.
I think Green Lantern would make a great TV show, because there's so much mythos and there's so much stuff that you could parcel that shit out over seasons. You have so much content to work with. I feel like trying to cram it all into a movie is where Green Lantern sort of runs awry, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, that's why it works so well in a Justice League movie, because you're not dealing with 1,000 lanterns who all have equally expensive powers to display, and B, he gets to like allude to a larger universe without actually having to participate in it. So it's way better, I think. I mean, like, it's so weird they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to even put a lantern in the Justice League. Not even going to hint at it. It's just going to be...
Not even one.
Yeah. You have so many.
I would love a one.
Yeah. Hey, maybe a girl lantern, since you literally only have one.
That's true.
Maybe, that's a look at that. Little demo testing in there with you.
Yeah.
Right?
How convenient she is for
you. I'm like, yes, but at the same time, I really like Jon Stewart.
Yes, I would rather have Jon Stewart and just bring
in Hawk Girl.
Yes.
Just bring a Hawk Girl in.
Yes.
I want to stand again.
Yeah.
I love me some Hawk Girl.
Yeah.
So underused, so forgotten, but so
and that works
good.
Perfectly, at least in the Justice League cartoon show, if you bring in Jon Stewart Green Lantern. See, this is all coming together.
Yeah.
It all comes together perfect. Let's just have the cartoon as live action.
Yeah, just do that.
I feel like we should send them a DVD or a Blu-ray of the cartoon and be like, hey, Warner Brothers, just try that.
You made this. You don't remember?
Do you remember this? Nah? Okay.
Look at how... Remember how good it was? Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just thought of one of my favorite Hawk Girl moments where she's holding Solomon Grundy. Grundy is like, do you think my soul will be waiting for me. And she's like, oh crap, I'm a staunch atheist, but for you, Grundy, I will give you peace. Yes, your soul is totally waiting for you. And he's like,
Thwack.
Grundy, happy with this.
That show really, really dug deeper than the DC EU has attempted to do.
Yes.
And I want that.
They had more time to explore it though.
That's true.
A show.
Yeah. You have more time to explore things in a show format than you do in a film.
Yeah.
Marvel has been really good at condensing it, and I don't think DC has figured out how to do it. And you know what? Marvel wasn't always good at condensing it.
No.
I mean, at least before Disney, in the BD days, they could not condense for shit. When you look at how many supervillains they try to cram into the Spider-Man movies.
Oh my god, yeah.
They were like, let's take everything in the comics and try to cram it into 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious given how successful it was. You know, Spider-Man 1 was the first time you're like, holy crap, they actually did it right. They did a superhero movie the way like we kind of had imagined it. And then of course we grew up and it looks like Batman and Robin compared to like an Iron Man movie. But then they made Spider-Man 2, which people still argue is like one of the best superhero movies ever made. One villain, dude has his own and it's like, look, it's cartoony pathos. My wife was killed. I have these arms. I'm not in control. Like but at the same time, like the actors really worked and the story was concise enough. It wasn't too real, so you weren't immediately doubting everything that took place in it. Even though I have a real problem with that movie the older I get, but like which I'll do a whole thing about. I won't get into it here. But the one villain rule works in that movie, and it's like the one that everyone hails as the best one, and it's like, just do that then. Like I don't understand why they need to. I mean. Even with Iron Man.
They overpack with additional characters and additional villains, or additional heroes and additional villains, because they think that'll sell. Like, cramming Wonder Woman into the Batman v Superman movie was so shoehorned in. They're like, we need a girl.
Well, you know what that...
shoehorn this girl in here. And then people, in the future go, girls don't work in movies because they tried to shoehorn this bitch in there and that didn't work. And it's like... No, you just need to make a good movie instead of shoehorning gimmicks into things that were fine to begin with.
Warner Brothers is like, in my opinion, they're always the people, along with a bunch of like Sony and still, but they learned the wrong lesson. Like, here's what happened. I'm going to take completely the incorrect lesson from this whole thing, but that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens.
Telling me.
That's what happens when you get entirely driven by a marketing department.
Yep.
Like, even with Suicide Squad, a lot of the complaints with Suicide Squad came down to, well, the marketing team got into the editing room. Well, the marketing team got into the script. Well, the marketing team got to the actors. And you're like, will somebody restrain the WB marketing team and just lock them in a small room and let them just generate strategies instead of going anywhere near these movies? Yeah. Because they are
the marketing team must have superpowers, because that's the only way they must be able to do this. Like they actually have powers, and that's what they're using this for.
Well,
they have ominous Grim Reaper powers where they can just teleport to wherever. Right when somebody says, I'm gonna make a high-budget movie, they just vanish and reappear in the room.
Yeah, they have Enchantress powers. They just appear in a room and then they ruin everything.
Or they have Killgrave powers, where they get into the minds of the directors and the actors, and they're like, yes, cheesy gimmick sounds like a great idea. I will do this in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I kind of like that Enchantress idea, because I just imagined them on set, and it's just one guy, very mild-mannered, and he just goes, marketing. And then, like, all these dudes in suits show up.
Yeah. Just take over.
Floating places. And you're like...
Do you have a vision? No.
It's like the silence from Doctor Who.
Right?
Where they just start, like, coming out of the walls and down from the ceiling. And they're like...
And there's like an intern, he's like, what? And they're like, it's cool, it's the marketing team.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Just prepare, it'll have all your dreams die.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about
it. It's okay.
Actually, mentioning Killgrave reminded me that Jessica Jones is getting a season 2, officially. Yay. And it is following Defenders. So it's like it's not the next one, but it is like...
No, but that's awesome, because like they're going to take influences from what happens in the Defenders in this next season. Like, they're not going to just pretend like that didn't happen. They're going to be like, okay, what happened to her there? How does that affect her character and the characters around her and the world around her? And then go from there. I'm like, yes, cohesion. Thank you.
Yeah. I love continuity and cohesion. It makes me so happy, especially when it carries over from comics and into TV shows. And you're like, I get that. I know what's going to happen. I'm so happy. I thought I had that for Court of Owls in Gotham. Like, for a split second, I was like, cool, they're going to bring it over. Nope. They just took a steaming pile of bird shit and just shoved it in my face. But Jessica Jones, I trust not to do that to me.
Yeah.
I
hear that they're going to still be pulling from Alias, so that's good. But
well,
not
they left
entirely.
They left like half the damn book.
I know.
On the floor.
And I saw that they asked about, Patsy Walker being Hellcat, and they're like, we really like her relationship with or without Hellcat with Jessica Jones. And I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah, but how about you put her in a Hellcat costume, though?
Yeah, put the cat suit on her, all right? But I want to see it.
But Patsy Walker is very kitschy, and she's, at least in the comics currently, she was kitschy before. She trailed that line between grit and kitsch, where sometimes shit got real for her, and sometimes it was like, you're so cute.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she would either die or she would be in an Archie joke, but that's kind of it for her.
But she's campy and she's kitsch, and that's kind of how she's always been. I would love to see her appear in Jessica Jones, not necessarily used very, very sparingly, but maybe as an Easter egg. She just runs into Patsy at a coffee shop, and Patsy is just this wayward, can't get her shit together millennial, a little bit like she is in her current rendition.
Yeah.
And they just run into each other for a brief moment, and they sort of see exactly how polar opposite they are.
Yeah.
Then maybe go their separate ways. I would be happy with an Easter egg like that.
I'm kind of hoping that with where they kind of left it off with those two, that Patsy, her reveal of being in season 2 would just be, she is Hellcat. I know they're not going to do that, but Jessica Jones is like, who's this?
Yeah.
And of course, an episode later, she's figured it out because, she is technically a PI, so, she would be.
It wouldn't take her long to figure that out.
No.
So, that would be, I think that would be really cool. That'd be really fun. But then they have to deal with that, and I know they want to probably shy away from that right now.
Yeah.
I feel like if we could get a season 3, or maybe even at the end of season 2, we could probably get something like that.
Right? That would be awesome.
And oh my god, that season 2 trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah, apropos trailers, I understand that Luke Cage Hero for Hire is just got his own new trailer.
Oh my god.
After the first bombastic, awesome trailer, we got another one, which was more like...
That was a teaser.
Yeah, that was a teaser. This is a real, straight-on trailer.
This is strap in, kiddies.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Sweet Christmas, am I down for this show.
It looks like they did Luke Cage right. It looks like they read all the comics. They know their source material. It looked good. They're bringing him from a side character into fruition as a full-blown standalone, and I am really excited about it.
When he got out of the tube, essentially, and he had the gauntlets and essentially his little headpiece, I was like, oh, yes. Get him the yellow shirt.
He had his Wolverine Origins moment where he breaks out of the tank.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's it, by the way, everybody. That's the tiara moment. He's not going to wear that again.
Oh, come on! He could!
Why?
I like his tiara.
I don't know if modern Luke Cage works.
I know, but I appreciate that they put it in, and I love where they left it off, where they're tell us what your name is. I'm like, just say Power Man! Just say it!
I'm kind of interested in how they do the...
Right? Is he going to just give his regular name, or is he going to go for it? He's going to be like,
Power Man,
and then someone makes fun of him. Yeah. They're like, Power Man? He's like, what?
What, I'm a man?
I'm really powerful, and I'm a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that Rosario Dawson is back.
Yes.
I know that, yes. She's amazing. And in each series that we've seen, she's kind of gotten a little bit more of a role in it. So, I just keep that train rolling. I love her.
She's been creeping in. I like how they've been creeping her in little by little. Give us a little taste, get us a little used to her before we get full frontal.
Oh, right. Yeah. Of course. It's funny, they keep advancing her plot as well. Even in in Daredevil season 2.
Yes.
I think she's no longer a nurse anymore. So
I know, but
she loses the job.
It's killing me because they're introducing a night nurse in
the Doctor Strange
movie. So I'm like, damn it. that was the way that you could just bring him really flawlessly in, other than it's the Defenders and he really should be a part of it, but let's not even talk about that. But I mean, like, there's your night nurse. That's it, right there.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going to use her.
It's nuts that she... Well, the other thing is that there are multiple night nurses, so it technically works.
I know.
But it also totally sucks that
She's pretty much what I imagined that to be. Like, she loses her job, you know what I mean? Like, she's just doing the thing, she's going to take care of it. Like, it's just, that's it, and then the oath happens.
Yeah.
It would have been a really great piece of cross continuity.
Yeah.
It would have been, that would be really cool to see, but I don't think they'll ever do something like that.
Yeah.
I know.
It feels
Even
like they
that'd
won't.
Be really awesome.
Yeah. But I love the trailer. I love that it's taking place in Harlem. Like, yes. Like, the entire casting for it looks great. I love the fact that Luke is going to be dealing with, like, seemingly, like, you know, a lot of, like, street-level crime and, like, something larger than that. But then I'm like, what's amazing about that is they're dealing with all this. He just dealt with, essentially, Kilgrave. We're going into this. And then he's going to be in the Defender. So he's going to be, like, you know, kind of normal crime stuff, kind of normal fighting things, and the Defenders.
Yeah.
And the Defenders.
And
look,
the Hand. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see after that, because Luke Cage is going to be like a gritty, real kind of politically driven show that will tackle, you know, themes and ideas that are contemporary and honest and what we're talking about on the national stage today. And then he's going to fight magic ninjas.
I know. Magic ninjas. I love that.
And I think that's what you need. Like, you have the show where you're like, oh, like, I met Luke Cage on Jessica Jones, and it was really cool, but, like, he didn't really have a lot to do. You know, he was this character, he was a side character, but he was really exciting. Yes. Then you get him into his own show where he's just a gritty, real, like, person, and he goes through some shit, and you're like, wow, that was rough. And then you move him over to Defenders where you need a palate cleanser where he's like, magic ninjas.
Right?
All right.
Exactly. And I like it. Oh, go ahead.
It'd be a nice break in between.
Oh, yeah.
All of the grit. It'd be nice.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it. By the way, they could easily just do, like, Defenders could just be Shadowland.
Oh.
But better. But, like, not horrible.
But better. But better. I like but better.
You know, like, Daredevil's just... Because at the end of Daredevil Season 2,
Someone in the comments had a good word for terrible. I hope not, because Shadowland was very jarring.
It was jarringly bad.
That's a very nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that from now on whenever I don't like something.
Yeah, you're just reading it, you're like, oh, that was... No, thank you.
That sounds like something my old Southern grandmother would say. Oh my, that was a little bit jarring.
That was a little jarring. It may have given me the vapors.
Me, I'm going to go grab another mint julep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the way they left off Daredevil, he's friendless and miserable.
Yes.
So you could just you could just make him take over the Hell's Kitchen, and then they have to fight him.
He's the final boss.
Yeah, he's the final boss.
That's they're not going to do that.
And then a stupid demon comes out, and then Robbie Ray as Ghost Rider shows up from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he fights him.
Right?
For me, that's almost too much continuity.
Right?
I need it sparingly.
Yeah, it's just too much.
That
is jarring.
I love
too
the fact
jarring.
The Defenders themselves have always been a team that, like, when you put them together, they don't really work well together. And when I look at the characters that they have laid out before us, I'm like, yep. I'm like, Luke Cage and Daredevil, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, bringing Iron Fist in, dealing with Jessica Jones, even though we don't really know him, that's going to be fun. And like, who else might we get? Clearly Stick's going to be involved, and he is grating as hell, so...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what you're going to get is, you're finally going to get Power Man and Iron Fist as a team.
I know!
I'm excited for Power Man.
Yeah. And I because Misty Knight is going to be in both Luke Cage and the Iron Fist show, I'm hoping they bring Misty Knight over to the Defenders.
Right?
At the very least, we know that Frank Castle will be visiting the Defenders.
I know.
When we say I know...
Frank Castle will be visiting.
There's no question that Uncle Frank is going to pop in.
He's going to show up. And that's what's so cool about these Netflix shows, is you never know which characters are going to cross in, because they could do whatever they want.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't wear a shield or hold a hammer, it's any character. Like, Moon Knight could be a character on the Defenders.
Yes, I want a Moon Knight show on Netflix. I have been waiting for that. I love Moon Knight. I feel like he's totally underrated.
Yep.
Most recent Moon Knight run that's been out right now, I've been living for it. I really enjoy it. It's one of the better Moon Knights has graced our presence in
Yeah.
a really long time. And now I'm all primed for a delicious Moon Knight show with all
Yeah.
of his wonderful schizophrenic side moments.
I don't know how well this would work, but could you imagine the Duffer Brothers from Stranger Things directing a Moon Knight series
Yes.
on Netflix?
I would that would be perfect.
You could do
They
any
would do such a good job.
You could do every
right?
version of Moon Knight. Like you could
We
have
should
him.
all spam tweet at them.
Yes.
That's what they need to do. Can we make that a movement? Hashtag hello Stranger Things. Can you please make Moon Knight? That's a terrible hashtag, but maybe something better.
Yeah.
We'll
work it out in
pull
post.
that
It'll be
one.
great.
Work it out in post.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make that happen though.
Oh my God. Yeah. So from there, ladies and gentlemen, that is our discussion from the pop culture. But I understand there's also some movie that came out that people are kind of excited about talking about. So I thought it wouldn't.
What?
I saw something at Hot Topic, and I was wondering.
Oh, at Hot Topic, you say?
Came out.
Huh.
Of all the stores, you think Hot Topic might have something to say about that?
Yeah, it was really weird. I saw this really cheap ass Splat hair dye, and they were like free comic with Splat, and I was like, that'd be great, but I'm not touching Splat.
Yeah. Oh, God. But yeah, so anyway, we're going to talk about Suicide Squad, but in order to do that, I think we got to pull in Caped Joel.
That's right.
'Cause he's been-
I know this week was supposed to be the week of trying new things, but we know the man's a huge fan, so as long as everybody gets to talk, even while he's here, he's going to be fine.
Exactly.
So
All right,
wait, I can't just talk over Joel and then
No,
berate him the entire time?
No, I encourage that.
Yes!
I mean, I don't think it would be a Sea Monster cameo without it.
Right?
So,
Get that cherub-cheeked, faced Canadian bitch in here.
Right?
that
So, ladies and
that
gentlemen,
rebel
before-
goateed son of a bitch.
That rebel goateed motherfucker.
Exactly.
Sorry, my mouth. PG-13.
Yes. Oh, right. We're not on ComicPOP. We can't curse. All right,
That
so...
mother trucker.
That's
Yes.
it. That's
That-
it. So,
Bucci.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to leave my camera and exit into the ComicPOP offices where I will join Sal magically on his camera, and then we'll have Joel come on in.
Yes, and hopefully it'll be really seamless, and by
Right,
that I mean it won't be at all.
When we thought about this, it seemed like it was going to work.
Yeah.
So it probably won't.
No. All right, here we go. I'm going to add Joel.
Add in Mr. Joel.
Mr. J.
There. All right, here he
Okay.
comes. We'll see what happens.
We're all going to see what happens. Let's break for a second.
I like that song.
Right?
A single.
If you sing about things when it's happening, it really helps.
Hey, look at it. Look at who it is, everybody. It's
Okay,
Cape Joel.
I'm going to hang up.
All right.
Joel, you're late, and you made Tiff leave.
Yeah, damn it, Joel. What the hell?
God damn it, Joel. Why are you even here?
Geez, the berate train is right on time. This one's pulling right into the station.
That's
that
right.
train's never late.
Time to open up a can of really
Of Canadian
significant
flavored.
insults.
Yeah.
Joel.
That rebel goateed son of a bitch. Huh?
The cherub-faced Canadian mother
Trucker.
whacker.
Yeah.
Got to do that Patton Oswalt clean filth for this show.
That's right.
Oh, no, yes, so much clean filth.
Although, ironically, the film we're talking about kind of did the clean filth thing, too. They only had one F word, and they used it up in a song.
Yes. I was
They
going to
did,
say,
it's
like,
true.
where is the F word? They dropped it in a song. What a waste.
What a waste. What a
What a
waste of a
waste.
good F word.
Yeah, and you had so many characters that could have pulled it off. Could have been Harley, could have been Joker, but I know Will Smith would have done a great job with it. Like,
They were using pussy very liberally, though.
yes.
Sure were.
Like I was actually a little bit surprised to hear it in the movie. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Where did that come from?
it felt like, for me, it felt like they had two different versions, and they were like, I bet we don't use it, but Margot, I want you to say pussy.
You know, it's funny you should say two different versions, Sal, because what we've learned and what we've been reading
yeah.
today, there might very well have been a couple versions of this movie
Yes.
out there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to be discussing David Ayer / Warner Brothers editorial, Warner Brothers Marketing's Suicide Squad.
That's right.
Plus the trailer
Now-
companies, the trailer houses, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
We did say
wait, wait,
that
wait.
if we had spoilers, we would warn everybody.
And it will all be spoilers. So
I
here
can't
they come.
keep
Here's
my
the
mouth
warning.
shut,
Yeah.
So, sorry.
what?
Preemptively, I apologize.
Yes. So all right. Suicide. All right, before we actually get into the nitty gritty, can I just say I kind of dug it.
I'm in the same
liked
boat
it.
with you. I didn't hate it. It was refreshing. Again, to borrow one of your lines, Sal, it's a DC movie that made me try and like it instead of try and take it seriously, and that
Yeah.
made all the difference in the world.
Well, what? Oh, go ahead.
Except for those weird marketing editing moments and some choppy writing here and there,
yeah.
I actually thought it fit the comics and the tone of the comics really well. At least New 52 Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because New 52 Suicide Squad, it relies really heavily on its campiness, a little bit on its 5 edgy 8 meanness, and very heavily on Harley. I mean, it is a hot topic mess, but pretending that New 52 Suicide Squad is not
Right.
a
It's
hot
not the
topic
way to
mess
fix it.
would
Like
straight up just be lying.
exactly.
Yeah, you can't ignore that. And I gotta tell you though, I get why it's Killer Croc. It's easier.
Oh, instead of
But
King
every
Shark.
moment I'm like, this could have just been King Shark.
Yeah. Why wasn't it a giant shark man?
Come on! You got this
Look,
far. You couldn't just go the extra mile.
Hey, if it was King Shark, then King Shark wouldn't have gotten to say anything for the whole second half of the movie. And then at the end, I love BET.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, that I didn't care for.
To be totally fair, King Shark, it probably wasn't a CG issue. It was probably the fact that King Shark says, "I'm a fucking shark,"
Yeah.
every
Which
2
is his greatest
seconds.
quote.
Well, see, now that's where you used your F-bomb then.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
where
I'm
you
a
use
fucking
it.
shark.
That could have been your, puny
That
god
would've been-
Hulk smash moment.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he's charging, I would love just that scene where he's charging and he's like, "I'm a fucking shark, I'm a shark," and he's just running.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
I
But
mean, maybe next time we'll get King Shark.
Right?
Maybe
I mean, like, here's the thing. They put him
Bill,
in.
you can't even give your full attention to the cast.
What's happening?
Sorry,
Joel!
phone call. Again, more packages coming downstairs. They always come at this time.
What are you ordering?
Shopaholic.
Joel, are you on the reefer?
I may very well be on the reefer. I'm not gonna lie. Is this my intervention? Is this why I didn't get to be on the main show?
No, I had to ask you why you were on the reefer. If I had to ask, I wouldn't know you were on the reefer. But now I know.
This is sneaky intervention.
You have reefer madness, Joel.
I like that awesome movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Let's not talk about it. But
No.
yeah, I dug it. There were elements that obviously I was like, whatever. But like, what's funny is I knew what we were getting into. Like, I saw the trailer, I'm like, this looks cool. I know that they're and Warner Brothers is nothing if not the most reactionary movie company I've ever seen in my life.
What?
Where they're like, whoa, what'd you think about that? Okay, but what did that guy say just now? Well, then okay, change it again. And like, just immediately they change every aspect of everything as quickly as possible. So when people were like, Batman vs. Superman was pretentious, they're like, okay, crap, but this is dark and edgy and pretentious. We have to fix it. And it's like,
Yeah.
no. This works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can throw many barbs towards Suicide Squad, but it in many ways knew what it wanted to be. It didn't bog itself down with a bunch of pretentious theology and philosophy. It's people shooting shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
No,
and you know, some of them have
Michael Bayed
dreams.
Itself, which in this case was the appropriate thing for Suicide Squad to do.
Yeah.
However, speaking of DC being incredibly reactionary and being reactionary with Suicide Squad by letting their hellbeast of a marketing department take any kind of control of it,
Yeah.
DC reminds me of that person on Facebook who edits their original comment 80 times each time someone below disagrees with it, or that guy on Reddit that will like edit and it'll be like, edit, I didn't mean I was doing XYZ, I was clearly agreeing and doing XYZ.
Yeah.
Edit.
I was clearly like,
Yeah. Edit. Gold again. But yeah, I thought it was okay. Like, and that's the thing, is that it's funny how this movie was interesting because it was literally almost literally the child of like the child of two parents, where it's like it has a big major duality of like really, really strong, powerful, good shit, and then not. Like, there were some really, really strong,
shit.
powerful, great actors, and then there were some not.
Oh yeah.
it made me really excited for Margot Robbie's standalone Harley Quinn movie.
Which has to be coming now. Which if it wasn't already
No
greenlit,
question it'll
it's
happen.
super greenlit now.
I don't wanna see one.
believe, Robbie is in pretty much full control over that too.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
so excited. And she clearly did her research, because if you saw the movie and you noticed, Margot Robbie played an animated series Harley Quinn.
We got the suit, which I was amazed. We got a couple shots of the suit. I'm like, okay, Suicide Squad. Okay.
The minute I saw it, I was endeared. I was like, you gave us animated series Harley in a new 52 skin. I see you.
And
I see you.
And an Alex Ross cover. They went to recreate the most famous Alex Ross cover. I'm like, okay.
That felt to me like
cool.
that was a reshoot. That felt to me like
Yeah.
they're like, we're gonna lose them. Give them one of those arts they like so much.
Yeah.
One of the art.
I'll have
The
one
kids
art,
like them
please.
arts.
Thank you.
That it really felt like they were just like that. They were like, "Hey, come back. You don't have to wear the Jared. Don't worry. You just have to wear this thing, and you don't have to put on a whole Joker thing. You
Yeah.
don't have to put on those silly ass tattoos. You could just wear this, and we'll just shoot this one shot of her wearing the outfit. Because
Yeah.
like the Harley outfit looked, it was cool. It for me cemented why we'll never see an animated series Harley in real life because because she looked okay. Here's a little history lesson for everybody. Before Batman Begins, they were thinking about letting Joel Schumacher do another Batman movie called Batman Triumphant, which would have featured Harley Quinn as the Joker's daughter, which would have been confusing to everybody given that there are two characters, one called the Joker's daughter and one being Harley Quinn, neither of which are the Joker's daughter. But
Harley also beats the shit out of Joker's daughter in New 52.
In a big bad way, and it's like, good. Why is this character even here? But like,
she's never used.
She's awful.
She makes no sense.
But
not even in the good way.
But I guarantee you, we would have seen like an animated series, Joel Schumacherification of Harley Quinn, and Harley in that outfit for me felt like a mix between really solid cosplay and what Joel Schumacher would have probably put her in.
It's a good cosplay, and it makes for wonderful stills.
Yes.
But in motion, it's not a costume that works in motion. I can understand why they went with the roller derby New 52 Harley Quinn adaptation because it translates into live action so much better. People get really angry that Harley Quinn's costume either wasn't the animated series or for some godforsaken reason was not the New 52 Harley Quinn Suicide Squad outfit with the giant Elizabethan collar, a tight-laced corset, and booty shorts. People literally are going, why isn't she in a tight-laced corset and booty shorts and an Elizabethan collar? This version is sexist. And I'm like...
You're like, back up the train a little bit there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to stop. All right, and you need to take this wall and apply your face to it because that is so messed up in so many ways.
Yeah.
It'd also be pretty cruel to a human to, put them in that and make them do action scenes.
Right? Now do a flip.
She was killing it in those heels, and I felt bad. I couldn't imagine poor Margot Robbie in a full-on tight-lace corset trying to do basic tumbling.
Yeah.
You can't even bend.
Basic tumbling sounds like the best college course ever.
Tumbling 101.
I get it. Like, Margot Robbie, she was great, but for me, I was like, I could have used about 4 times as much Katana, because Katana for me was like, wow, you just took something right out of comic books and put it right on the screen.
Yeah, literally, there was no
apology.
There was almost no complete. There was no moveification of Katana. It was just literally the comic, the costume, the sword. It has the mitt. The only thing about it was like it probably does actually. It's like in the comics, it's nebulous whether the sword actually takes the souls.
Yeah.
In the movie, it does.
Yeah. And I was like,
that's
awesome.
I thought that was so cool because it satisfied a personal canon for me. I was like, it takes the souls.
Exactly.
Katana's a weird case, too, because she shows up later in the movie than anyone else. She's the last person. They're leaving, and she's like, no, wait, don't leave without me.
Yeah.
She works for Rick Flag. We don't know how they met or what their relationship is, and we never find out through the movie. She only ever speaks Japanese except for one bit in the bar, even though she totally speaks English in the comic. It's like, we need to hit home she's the foreign character. How do we do that?
But at the same time,
all it made me want was a Katana movie, and I was like, is Katana here to advertise? Because again, I'm going off of what are the evil marketing people doing, and I'm like, is Katana here to advertise or demo for a Katana movie?
I wouldn't be the least bit
DC like, we
surprised.
want to make a Katana movie, but we don't know how it's going to do, so let's stick her in Suicide Squad and just kind of see.
I think they were trying to balance the team out, like gender-wise, and they didn't want to take a character that they might want to use in a larger arena.
You by making her speak only Japanese, you have your cake and eat it too, in as much as you have your new female character, but she doesn't say anything anyone can listen to.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they were
I
doing
don't think
with
that's
that.
really what it is, but I just want to play out
It
advocate.
could easily be taken that way.
Oh, yeah.
And damn, PR 101 right again.
Can I?
Also-
but I'm going to flip
also
that
magic.
on you.
Yeah.
Because
Also
if you,
magic.
If you look at every woman in that
Movie.
they're the most powerful person.
Yes,
there.
every woman in that movie is the most powerful character.
Well,
True.
something that everybody's ignoring in favor of Harley Quinn's frickin' booty shorts, which is okay. I know. There's like a hashtag problematic fave, whatever the fuck you want to call it, but we have a lead who is a woman of color. We have Will Smith, who is a person of color that is also a lead, and then we have Margot Robbie, who is another female lead.
Yep.
You have
It's
your
an entire diverse
villain-
cast.
and your main villain
Is
is
a
a
woman.
female.
And the main villain is Enchantress,
It's-
a villain, and everyone's like, the movie was terrible and non-representative because Harley was wearing booty shorts, and I'm like, what? Why can we not just for a second praise this giant amount of progress that we see right here? Because not only was it done, but it was done incredibly well. Amanda Waller was fucking on point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She was the comic
Fuck.
character.
Yeah.
So was Will Smith, and
Yeah.
so was Margot Robbie. They were so strong. They were so good.
Yeah.
Praise it.
I mean, if I was to be a Suicide Squad hipster, I could be like, oh well, Will Smith just played himself and not really Floyd Lawton that we know from the
Yeah.
comics, but he was still really good though.
But it was.
Still
But
for
there's a
lot-
reason why he commands such a high salary. We want to watch Will Smith do Will Smith things.
Yep.
Triangle. He's
Will
charming.
Smith- Will Smith was I Am Legend, but more evil and funnier.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I liked that. That was actually exactly what I wanted to see. When they were like, Will Smith is in this, I'm like, Will Smith would probably be a good Floyd if he played his character from I Am Legend.
And it's a bit of a rare treat too, because we're not used to seeing Will Smith break bad and say and do naughty things because he's been a hero for so much in his career.
We also don't see him in
Yep.
ensemble pictures very often. And
Right,
by
not
the way,
anymore.
and while it's funny, having watched, I don't know if you guys saw a lot of like the interviews with the entire, like they did that Conan Comic Con episode where Will Smith like wanted to be in every interview. And tried really hard to get in on everyone's interview.
Yep.
But, like, dude can't argue that, number one, it was successful. Number two, people kind of dug it. Number three,
Yeah.
like, people don't want to go see Will Smith movies anymore, for the most part. So maybe you might see a couple more, like, appearances from Deadshot and or ensemble pictures with Will Smith in them.
It's amazing to think how talented he is when he's not chasing Oscar Gold, which he did for the last couple of years, and failed, or
Yeah, that
starring
was
in
sad.
nepotism projects to
Yeah.
push his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss Will Smith in movies. Like, what Joel said.
No, it's
It
true.
was more than just Will Smith. This was the second coming of Big Willie style, is what
It
this was.
really
You thought
was.
Will Smith, but you got Big Willie style.
I actually went back and watched Wild Wild West after seeing that.
Oh,
I was like, I need more camp and cheese in my life.
well, that's that.
You know what I liked
That
about
easy.
this Will Smith was it was definitely harken back to what we loved about Will Smith, but you
Yeah.
also saw the maturity that he has gained over the years.
Yeah, he really is understated. Like, he pulls back a lot.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, like he definitely has. He can take the quiet moments. He can run with the quiet moments. Some of the quiet moments can be some of his strongest moments. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have to be, yelling all the time.
Incidentally, just apropos like other people, because Will Smith's awesome, but there's a huge cast of these people.
Yes.
This is the best role Jai Courtney's ever done.
Sure is.
Yeah.
I hate Jai Courtney. He is a
Who doesn't?
low rent Sam Worthington.
Mm-hmm.
But when he uses his own accent, I think he's Australian.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
So he uses his own accent and plays a drunken douchebag.
Who apparently was even worse in the original cut. Apparently he was supposed to be sexist and racist, but they pulled that out, which also explains why he doesn't say anything.
Well,
for
he
the
really
whole
pulls it
second act.
apparently on Katana the
Yeah.
entire time, which is like kind of fun because it's also like, it works because it allows Boomerang to be an unlikable douche, but also be kind of funny, and it allows Katana to be like powerful. She's the one in power because she's like, nothing you can say bothers me because I know that I can cut your head off without you even thinking about it. Like,
Also, my English is not perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't really understand what you're saying, half the time, so it works for me.
The language barrier on top of your face just kind of makes me want to kill you.
See,
Yeah.
I assumed that she knew.
That she speaks
Oh,
fluently.
she just
and
prefers.
yeah. She's just
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just not.
I also preferred that though.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Japanese language, so I was like, yeah,
We'll get
you
to
speak
hear-
it.
Let's hear some more Japanese.
Yeah.
There was the Japanese. Okay, I'm just gonna this is my nitpick with the Japanese. I know nobody gives a shit, but they were mixing in very formal Japanese with really casual Japanese.
Nani?
Like, we went from super formal to, like, Yakuza Japanese occasionally with Katana, and it made me feel weird, because I would be like, oh, okay, she speaks formally. This is a nice change from the comics, because they don't write it in Japanese. And then, all of a sudden, she gets, like, in regular conversations, super casual. And I don't know if that was just mistranslating on the writing staff, because her accent, I don't know if the actress speaks fluent Japanese or if they just asked her to improvise, which would make sense as to why this kind of happened. Or if I don't really know what happened, but
I don't think any American making these movies knows for sure.
No, they probably wouldn't
like,
know, and
somebody
it
who
would only be if they
speaks
hired a
Japanese.
linguist to come in and assist them with that. If the actress who plays her doesn't speak Japanese, it could also just be reflective of her character, though.
It
Yeah,
could
like
be. It
she
could be
speaks
that.
formally with Flag, but not with the others.
Yeah, like you'd have to go back and try to pinpoint it, because that's kind of the problem I had sometimes with Margot Robbie, because I could never tell.
Well, that's-
she had that
Yeah.
floating accent, and I was like, is that
Oh,
because
yeah, she did.
they're doing
It's
it
the-
on purpose, or is that because reshoots, or what is that?
I think it's
I
reshoots.
think it's the same thing. It's just that it's a writing inconsistency and a context inconsistency
Oh, yeah.
with the Japanese, and then you've got the floating accent with Margot Robbie as well. And that was like, her accent was very good. I don't know why she didn't keep it consistent through the whole thing.
Oh
She-
God, it's kind of hard talking like this.
Well,
the
no, she
whole
does it in
time.
Wolf of Wall Street. She has like a hard
Yeah.
New York accent. The
That's
thing about
right,
it,
she does.
I remember reading interviews with Margot
she was
Robbie.
using the same accent the whole time.
I remember hearing or reading an interview with her when they were leading up to it, and they were like, "Are you going to do the voice?" And she said, "No, I'm not going to do the accent because I wanted to make Harley my own character." And I
But
feel
then she saw the animated series and was like, nah, I'm doing the accent.
could be, but my theory is that she held true to that, did it the whole movie with no accent, and then with reshoots they're like, which is why I'm also like, maybe that Alex Ross painting is also a reshoot where they're like, make it more like the comic. These nerds are gonna eat us alive. And by the way, Margot, can you slip in a couple more Mr. J's while we're doing the reshoots?
yeah.
Like, that's the thing, the movie, because while we all dug it, and we all liked seeing those characters, and we liked seeing a lot of these things,
Yeah.
that you can't deny the movie was chopped to hell.
It's
Oh my
fundamentally
God.
broken. They
It
put
was-
it through a sausage machine, is
Yeah.
what they put it through.
And that's what made me so upset about it, because you could see at its core that it was a good movie. And it's definitely as upsetting as some of these editing and inconsistencies with these reshoots are, it's still not the giant flaming problematic pile of dog feces on the front porch that all of these critics kind of want to make it out
No.
to be.
No.
It still wasn't that bad, but it is a good movie that has its problems, and its problems come from the fact where you have a reactionary house, you
Yep.
have a reactionary marketing team that is so hyper concerned about the bottom line that it's not letting anybody do their job. It's like a bad manager. You know,
Yeah.
that manager you had that would micromanage everything you did and sometimes even take your work away and do it for you?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because DC and Warner Brothers continue to hold up this false idea where it's like, oh, we let our movies be creator driven, not like that assembly
not.
line over at Marvel and Disney. You know, we actually believe in creative vision. No, you believed in Zack Snyder's vision, and that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you,
that was
you didn't believe it. You banked on it. And
Yeah.
there's a big
Yeah,
difference. And now they're like, okay, what's so frustrating for me as a detractor of Man of Steel, and as I didn't hate Batman vs Superman because I liked Affleck, I liked the suits, I liked all kinds of neat like visuals about Batman vs Superman, but my issue was the same. Was just like, this is too dark, this is going in a weird direction, you're taking
I have
source
no
material for
reason
no
to care.
reason, you're hodgepodging from comics for just because you think things look cool. But my issues, because I didn't like Man of Steel and I was like, this is gonna be something else, I was able to mitigate my expectations. So Man of Steel was nowhere near the surprise that it turned out to be.
Yeah.
That Man of Steel turned out to be. But
Yeah.
we're finally getting in this place where like DC Warner Brothers is not like, okay, we jumped out of the gate, we got this huge success and it worked really well and we're gonna model everything off this. They thought that, they
Yeah.
did that, but they keep reacting to it, which is why Man of Steel was one thing, and they were like, screw you if you didn't like Man of Steel, here it is. But then Batman vs. Superman very much reflects a reactionary body.
Well,
But
and they never spend enough time refining something so that eventually they create a good formula. And that's, again, it's the problem when you have things that are so reactionary and business and marketing driven. Disney can afford to allow people to create, but I feel like Warner Brothers, it wants to, but it's so concerned about that affected bottom line that it can't help but screwing itself over in the process.
Well,
it won't give itself enough time to make its mistakes and create its formula and come back a lot better in the next movie. It sits there and it goes, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong, nothing's
it's true.
wrong. And then it passive aggressively gives you everything that you complained about, but in like a really aggressive way. It's like, if you don't want to make dinner and your partner doesn't want to make dinner.
Yeah, and then you just start slamming your pots and pans together.
It? And then they're like, fine, I'll make it. And they make you dinner, and then they slam it really hard down on the table, and it gets all fucked up. And you're like...
It's been the last 2 movies.
Well, I didn't want that.
I feel like Warner Brothers, the reason they have to do this is because they're behind in their heads.
Yeah. They think they need to catch up, and it's like...
Yeah, so they're accelerating what Marvel took its time doing.
Yes.
Like, Marvel... pulled back and was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna get to this point. And DC's like, no time.
Yeah, we need to get to Justice League before, like
now.
But like, why don't you just make really, really solid, like a really, really awesome Green Lantern, Cyborg, Flash, Superman, Batman, Justice League movie? Like, my issue is that Zack Snyder is an idiot.
Yes.
Yes.
And
I don't doubt he's a nerd, but he's the wrong kind of nerd.
He's an idiot, and I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, but like, he is, and like it. And I say that because like the dude makes the same mistakes over and over again. He doesn't care. Like, that's an idiot.
He says dumb things in the press and doesn't care.
But you got Suicide Squad, which is the first DC movie that I think is really pretty solid. I enjoyed it. I was sad that the people outside were like, you're trying to fix it. Fix this thing that's not broken. But then the next one after Wonder Woman, so we're going to get Wonder Woman, which could be awesome.
It could be.
Yeah.
But now that I know Warner Brothers has no filter when it comes to ruining things that work, who knows? Yeah. But it could be really, really good, right? We got Suicide Squad, people like, wow, that's kind of cool. Wonder Woman, people like, holy shit, this is awesome. Then Zack Snyder makes Justice League again.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You know, I feel like Warner Brothers thought early on that Zack Snyder could be their Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
not even their Kevin Feige. He needs to be like their Joss Whedon.
They need a Kevin Feige.
Difference.
Someone who goes from movie to movie and makes sure it all kind of fits together and like kind of like goes in and is away from the project and can see everything as a whole.
Yeah.
And
There's such a big
here are some
difference.
suggestions.
There's such a big difference between large-scale continuity mapping and that level. It's almost like a high level, and those of you who live in corporate America with me know, like, it's like a high level overview of continuity. It's that Geoff Johns level of continuity with things, those giant overarching skeletal maps that help you keep track of everything. And there's a huge difference between that, between screenwriting, and between comic book writing. And I feel like Warner Brothers doesn't understand that. Very much like the corporate entity that it is, it doesn't understand that there are different skill sets that go into all of these different types of writing and creating. And they think, oh, you wrote the comic books, so you can write movies and do large content mapping, and bet you could do some advertising. We'd love, you say a lot of cool stuff, Zack Snyder, so our marketing team could really use you.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's funny because they don't know what they have. And Warner Brothers has never really known what they have. Because, like, from the time when Warner Brothers tried to sell off DC, to the time when Warner Brothers made horrible Batman movies, to the time when Warner Brothers made crime dramas with Batman in them, Warner Brothers doesn't really know what they have and and why it works and why it's successful. Yeah. And they have kind of a Sony problem where they're like, we just need to get tentpole action movies into our. We need to start making some ducats that like actually help us make the movies that we want to make. Because Warner Brothers doesn't want to make a Batman movie. They want to make like dramas and Oscar flicks, and they want to make like they want to make money, but they also don't like they're sad. They're sorry they have to make these Batman movies, and they've been apologizing for that forever. And Warner Brothers has been able to make Justice League movies since like the early 80s.
There's a reason they haven't.
There's no reason they haven't been able to do it, and the fact is, like, if look, 1992's Justice League would have looked really stupid, but it's just indicative of the fact that they've never really known what they have. And even the Nolan movies, which are objectively solid, right?
Yeah.
Kinda, unless you really pull up the threads of like the chase scenes and stuff.
At least
They've
2.5
got that
classics.
classic level of kitsch.
They do, but they're apology movies.
Yeah.
These are, I lost the rights to Harry Potter and now I have to make a Batman movie again. And I'm sorry we gotta make this Batman movie. I promise he won't be in it too much. But we're gonna make it about the bad guys, or we're gonna cast somebody crazy.
We know you really like villains, so we're just gonna do that, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll make it a really good cosplay scene, so you'll like it.
But like with Warner Brothers, they're like, okay, well, we'll just do the Marvel thing. We'll do what those Marvel people are doing.
Put
But
fun
they're
songs
not
and
doing what
lots of
those Marvel
jokes.
people are doing.
But they think they are. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They think they're making what they're doing. What Marvel's doing.
They're
And it
doing what a corporate shill thinks Marvel is doing. And what Disney and Marvel are really doing is Disney bought Marvel, and Disney was like, Marvel, behold unto you all of this money.
Yeah.
Go forth and create. We have a couple of requirements, but overall, go forth and create. Do what you do best. And that's honestly what Warner Brothers needs to do with DC. They need to let them go forth and create with the DC team and wrap it all together. That's why Marvel is this one cohesive unit, because you have Disney as its production company absorbing Marvel fully into a single unit. Therefore, all of the content is cohesive, all of the branding is cohesive, the movies fall in line with the comics and make nice accent pieces. S.H.I.E.L.D. is meh, but Jessica Jones and Daredevil are great.
Yeah.
And, that's why it works. But with WB and DC, you clearly have this corporate overlord process going in and being at odds with the creative process, and that's why it's all fucked up.
Yeah. For me, the real problem is it's actually kind of fundamental. It's why they're not working. This is like a deeper problem, and I think it's that like Warner Brothers is like, do that Marvel thing. Marvel, when Marvel was born and created it and worked, it lived in its own it lived in a shared universe. It was birthed in a shared universe.
Yeah.
Spider-Man tried to join the Fantastic Four in his first issue.
Yeah.
It's why it's why Fantastic Four movies don't work by themselves. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a shit about those guys outside of the Marvel universe. But like, I love the Fantastic Four, but I don't want to watch a movie about just them outside of the Marvel universe.
Right.
But they need to be together. DC didn't start that way.
No.
Batman and Superman, people see them as synonymous with each other. They existed outside of their own continuities for a while.
Right.
A universe unto themselves.
And it's
You
funny.
can actually look at it in the same way that you'd look at smaller publishing houses, almost like DC. I'm not sorry, DC. Almost like Image or Valiant, or and you see so many stories that are just their own stories. They're not in a universe. They're just under the same publishing house.
Right. I mean, well, and it's funny because Image tried to have a
Image
shared
did.
universe, and it just crapped the bed.
And New Valiant is entirely
In its own universe,
Yeah.
and they're working, and it works really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
To,
Now, I think the problem, my thing about DC has always been, you guys created the template for superheroes, essentially. You took
the first one.
Yeah,
You are the
took
golden.
them and you said, here's the template, and then everyone else tried to make things that were like that. It's daunting as hell to think that you can make a movie like what Marvel's doing out of the template.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's why it's why Zack Snyder like had moments in Man of Steel where young Clark Kent puts on a Superman cape and puts his hands on his hips. There is no Superman in your universe. He would not know who he's emulating.
There's no justification.
But like, it demonstrates that fundamental misunderstanding of like, no, you're the baseline.
Yeah, like
This is where it starts. You're
here.
building a myth in your movie. You're not making an Iron Man flick.
Right.
I would love to see that. I would love to see DC just like they're doing in the comics almost right now, just smash the shit out of that reset button in their cinematic universe and start over from building the
They're
myth.
too far
They're
along.
too
Yeah,
far.
and that's
They
the
can't do
problem.
I
that.
know they're too far along, but at some point, the reset button always gets hit
Oh,
again.
no.
Even with, no matter how great these Marvel movies that are coming out right now are, they'll hit the reset button on the cinematic universe as well.
Oh no, they
I mean,
absolutely will. But like, even if someone gives them the money to fix it, they have to deal with the past. Like
Yes.
that, they already have like this mark now, or it's just like, well,
the DC movies are critically loud or critically not great, and
Right.
people have a real
Lambasted.
problem with that Superman guy.
so even if they ended up resetting everything and then they put out something that was mediocre, even if it was better than what was before, everyone's going to critically acclaim it, and then later on, nobody's going to learn from that. They're just going to be like, well, it was better, yay, that's good enough. Who cares? You know, like. Nobody learns anything over in Warner Brothers.
No,
So DC needs to be rescued from the abusive household that is Warner Brothers, just like Spidey needed to be rescued from Sony.
They they literally need time travel to fix this.
Yeah. Which they could do because they have Flash. They could do it anytime.
Well,
They
there
do.
you go. He has to run so fast that he saves the DCE.
Just Flashpoint that
We
shit.
need a Flash movie where he runs so fast he saves the cinematic universe from itself.
That'd be fun. They could do. They could easily do that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about a lot of deeper issues that Warner Brothers has,
But not
about
the
a movie
movie
that we all kind of really enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, that's what's so weird,
Well,
though.
it just
is that,
reminds you of how close they got and
Yes.
how good they could be. And then it makes the reality set in where it's like, look how good you could be. It's like that truanted child in high school who's a wonderfully gifted artist, but he won't stop smoking meth behind the shed.
Yeah.
And you're just like, look how good you could be, you beautiful souls. Please stop smoking meth.
Can we talk to you about my favorite moment of discontinuity from this? So Amanda Waller gets the team together, right?
Right.
That's what she wants to do to help fight or to make up for a Superman that doesn't exist anymore, which makes me feel that was changed in editing.
Right.
She's like, okay, here's my people. I got a witch. I got a mentally disturbed girl and a boomerang guy. They're all good. They're great people. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna show you.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. And then
Don't worry about it.
And because of that, Enchantress turns on her almost instantly for reasons that are not explained. And so the first mission the Suicide Squad has, even though she has the people, is to go deal with an Enchantress thing that they didn't know was an Enchantress thing at first. So they only send June Moon and Flag in at first, but Waller's trapped in the city, but we didn't know Waller was trapped in the city. But meanwhile, Flag is able to come back, get the team, and do the mission, even though he was already there.
Well, yes. I mean, the fact is the movie was so cut up.
Yeah.
It kind of emulated that whole plot with Enchantress. Sorry for bursting in, but that whole plot with Enchantress emulates that New 52 Suicide Squad run where they're like, look, we have this total psychopath who's incredibly powerful who really wants to see her boyfriend, and then Harley escapes, fucks everybody's shit up, and the Suicide Squad's mission becomes, we gotta go deal with Harley now.
Yes.
And it felt like the same exact plot structure, but with Enchantress.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work for a character like Enchantress.
Well, it doesn't work because it makes everyone look really stupid.
Yep.
Because Waller's like, we need to form a team of these people. And thank God we have it, because they need to take down one of the members of the team that I assembled.
Right.
And and the first mission needs to be to save me from having screwed up so badly. Like, if you just didn't do anything, you'd be fine.
It would be one thing if in an original cut, if that was like Waller's plan, where she's like, I will engineer a situation where the only ones who can help are the team. And in fact, I think that was in the original cut.
That would make way more sense. I hate to give credit to you, Joel, but that makes a ton of sense.
Don't we all? Because in Act 3, Deadshot finds all the paperwork. And he's like, "Oh, you knew," and I'm like, "Yeah, we all knew."
How was that a surprise?
Well, it's a surprise to them,
right?
Not about the Suicide Squad, but about the Enchantress. That's what he learned about, and that's what he was surprised about. And he's like, "You made this happen."
Right. Like, we're not stopping an invading force. We're stopping one of the people that you brought in. That sucks. Like, that's the problem. That's how that's the narrative I think they created with editing. But yeah.
Yes.
That was overall very disappointing. I would much rather have seen that original plot line where Waller tries to contrive a situation in which the Suicide Squad has to act to prove it to everybody that it's awesome.
I gotta say, I didn't mind the staying part of it, because I guess my brain made it out to be that this all went down, and she stayed to see how it all turned out.
Right.
Like her her curiosity in what was going on, and the fact that she knew that Rick Flag would be able to get her out in the end, she stayed in the panic room.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, okay, this is happening now. I made this team. Let's see if it was worth it.
Yeah, let's see if they can save my ass.
Let's see. Waller would be harebrained crazy, and actually, she's too practical to try.
No, but like, that is, to some degree, that is practicality, because then she can point to when she goes back and says, like, I put my life on the line and I proved that my team was effective.
Right.
Yeah, but that works. I feel like that works a lot better with that OG plot line where she is contriving a situation.
Oh, no, I agree. I like the fact that, like, I like the idea of this Waller who thinks on her toes, and any situation she can turn into a situation for herself.
Yeah.
Like, any situation
I like
that's given.
that as well. And I seem to also be the only person who likes that she wasted all of her staff.
Oh, I love
man,
that. Are you kidding me?
That
That's
was like
pretty
my
fun.
favorite.
We were all like, whoa!
I was like, yes!
I was the only one, was I the only one who complained that, not complained, but was disappointed by the fact that, like, okay, I don't like the putties where it's like, like zombie hordes, throw them at them, but I would have preferred that to a blue laser that the shredder launched in the air so they could turn the populace into lizard people.
Yeah.
Or
So
whatever it is.
so Dr. Doom could go back to the negative zone. Like, all of those movies have that stupid thing where they shoot a thing in the sky and something's gonna happen, and they gotta stop it. Like, why not just have her be like, we gotta get to the Enchantress because otherwise she'll turn everyone into mindless zombies.
Yeah.
That would have been. For a long time, I thought that's what the plot was. I was like, oh no, everybody's turning into trash bag monsters that are half melted in the Texas sun. Oh no, this is terrible. And then I was like, oh, the actual threat was a laser beam.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they had to be
bringing it back
mindless
to that,
zombies
are
so
we?
that you could relate to the Suicide Squad, because even though they're villains, they're really the heroes, even if they're anti-heroes, so they can't kill people, but
No, they
can
have
kill
to
these
do.
things.
That's fine.
not even
It's
heroes.
stupid.
I know it's stupid.
But I'm
They
fine with that
really-
because otherwise Deadshot has to shoot rubber bullets or some crap.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
You say they weren't heroic there, Kayla. I would argue that they are more heroic than the versions of Superman.
No, Joel, you have trouble listening. I said they're not anti. Clean out your ears, old man. I said they're not anti-heroes. They're villain protagonists.
Oh.
Big
I
difference.
have my nitpicky English teacher glasses are coming on.
All I was trying to say though is I ultimately found them more heroic than the versions
Yeah.
of Batman and Superman we've been offered for the one reason that they're not hypocrites when they kill people. They're
Right.
honest with
Yeah.
themselves.
When Harley looked at Diablo and went, own that shit, I was like, yes, girl. Yes.
Unlike two other people we know who murder and torture and demand that statues be built of them in their honor.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But, yep. I knew this was going to happen. I always get a call from some telemarketer, and they can fuck off. So,
I like how it's like, we are going to pause the show for a minute because I have this call from this telemarketer, and it must be answered. Hello?
well, I have to answer it, otherwise it'll keep ringing, and our landline will also go like, you're getting a call from this person. Like, rather than that, I just pick it up and hang up. But, we've come to the period in the show where let's talk about, like, what did we like the best? What were your favorite moments in the movie before we wrap
We haven't
up?
talked about the Joker yet.
Oh, yeah,
Everyone's
let's do the
probably dying to
Joker
talk
and then
about
favorite
that.
moments, and then we'll wrap up.
Sorry. I got really excited because it's an interesting Joker choice because it's an Azarilio Joker.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
hang
haven't
on.
seen that
Hang on,
ever.
I know you guys are going to go off, so I'm just going to put this out there. I hated what they did with it because I know they cut stuff out, so I didn't care for the fact that I was like, you either got to put it all in or you take it all out. Because you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You created something I didn't really care to see. That's not my take on the Joker, is him being infatuated with Harley Quinn. But I know there's other stuff there.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
okay, that's it.
Well,
In-
it was
in the
an
original
Australio
cut.
Joker in the fact that he's obsessed with Harley as a possession, but that didn't come through because all we have are Harley's memories to go on, which are, of course,
Unreliable.
going to be overly romanticized as
Yeah.
Flark. And then on top of that, we saw Joker's caring moments where he's rescuing her. We don't see any of the actual Joker
Abuse.
moments
Yeah.
because we don't see the actual relationship because they put no time into it. I feel like they cut
Apparently-
all of it out.
That the abuse was supposed to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Apparently, Harley's arc was they show him being abusive, and they filmed scenes of him like backhanding her and everything.
Yep.
Yep.
Supposedly, the final bit was Joker gets out of the helicopter, his face is all burnt, and you see that in one of the trailers, but not the final movie. And he has a big showdown with the Squad in the subway tunnels, and Harley eventually goes against him, asserting her authority and dominance and everything. And that's the end of her arc, and they cut it from the movie.
Yeah.
Why no in the movie, though? That's so nice, Circle.
And you know what, though?
Perfect.
Like, you could, even if you weren't sure what the Joker-Harley relationship was supposed to be, even if you're going to that movie and you have no idea, you can feel how cut everything is. Yeah. And there were just points where I'm like, even if I didn't know, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Her just showing back up, and I'm like, no sense. But I know that something has to be cut, and then they came out with that, and I was like, thank you. Well, at least I feel like, maybe they'll put it all back in at some point.
There were so many teleportation cuts. That's what I've started calling them. Because you can really tell when they're cut in the movie. Because it's at one moment they're over here, and then boop, they teleport, and they're in a slightly different place, carrying on a similar conversation.
Yep. Yeah, there's that scene. I remember the moment I think where I was like, what? All right. Was when Harley and Deadshot chat in the stairwell. And they have they have a conversation that maybe takes half a sentence, and then Deadshot doesn't kill her, and I'm like, why didn't he just shoot her?
Right. Yeah. And also, how did he was in the front of the line,
and then he was in the end of the line,
and he's in the back of the line.
Like, what do we do? It feels like we might have stopped and then changed places at some point.
Did he jump down from the other stairs? And go back. That was a different one.
Yeah, that was a different scene with stairs.
Just to bring it back to the editing and the Joker for a second, I'll forgive the fact that this Joker looks like he drinks a lot of Faygo. What I won't forgive that's an ICP joke, everybody.
That Faygo.
That Faygo, that cotton candy flavor.
I won't call it Fay Joker.
Oh, he is the Fay. He's the Juggaloker. But that one wasn't as good. But what I
want to throw up a little bit from accuracy.
Yeah. What I won't forgive, though, is all the weird filters and cuts and everything else they have going on in Jared Leto's scene. It's like they didn't believe enough in his performance. They're like, no, we need to get all After Effects and camera tricks and everything. Ledger didn't need that. Hamill didn't need that. Nicholson didn't need that.
But Jared Leto needed it because...
he wasn't great.
Leto...
because when you're down with the clown and you're down for life.
No!
Well, that's all the time we have for Joel.
I researched way too many ICP lyrics for this.
Jolgalo? Are you a Jolgalo? You
Not the first person to make that joke this
now.
week.
Nice.
And we're going to see you with dyed hair in the Hot Topic with the silver grill.
And it'll say damaged across your forehead. You know what's funny? One of the After Effects problems that I had was the information.
Oh.
Like this is the so-and-so with all their... And it was inconsistent throughout each character, and I'm like, this is weird. This is annoying.
I was like, are they preparing for the video game? Because it looked like they were demoing for the intros of various Suicide Squad.
If we're going to bring up video games, can we just touch briefly on the boss battle with the Enchantress, where they fight her, and then she jumps away, and then she gets swords, and then she goes back into the fight because they had weapons. So
that whole movie was just Left 4 Dead. It's all these different characters, all different attack types.
Right.
Like you've got the sniper and the heavy and the stealth.
Right, and who will you play?
Yeah, but whatever one you like the best is that character, and then you play that.
Usually there's that subtle video game feel in a lot of superhero movies and nerd movies because, it's the story structure and then the way it's formatted for nerds, and then on top of that, they are going to just make a video game anyway, so why not?
Yeah.
But
they
this was
made
just
a mobile tie-in for this.
pushing your face in it. It was just, don't you want to play this fucking game?
I assume it's that they think that that's what a younger audience relates to.
Yes,
and
they're
so
like, look at how hip this movie
they
is.
don't know how to end these movies anymore because they're like, here you go. That's how video games end, so this is how the movie ends?
Yeah.
I would have loved for them to have just given up entirely and have done dual screens, Markiplier and PewDiePie narrating over it.
Yeah.
Right at the
As
end?
if it's just...
Yeah.
Oh,
what happened right now, dudes? Oh, it looks like Joker's here. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hashtag bras.
and then you hear, from the corner, ah!
Yeah, literally when she jumped in with those swords, after she left the fight and came back in, after they all pulled out, I was
It sucks because, we were really jazzed for Enchantress.
And you know what? Like, I appreciate the fact they did a female villain. I understand though that why they didn't put a lot of effort into it, because that's not really what the movie was about. The movie was actually character driven, which I was like, wow, interesting way to actually sneak that in. But you had to have some great threat, but it can't be like a super great threat, because then why isn't Batman here and why are these guys dealing with it? So it has to be this thing that's kind of self-contained, and Amanda Waller is really directly responsible for it. So it's like, I get it, but I appreciate the fact that it was a chick.
Yes.
Like, I do appreciate that.
Can I say,
Enchantress is one of those villains, though, that I feel she is kind of a heavy hitter villain. Like, even just looking back at the comics and the Justice League show, she's a heavy hitter, and I feel like she's a villain that needs to be escalated into, and not a villain that can be used as a side bit villain.
No.
I would much rather have had the Suicide Squad go try to fight, gangsters in China or even ISIS. Then I would have enjoyed Suicide Squad.
That would have been a cool movie, and it would have been cheaper too.
Yeah, it would have been way cheaper. It would have been like Three Kings, but with super villains.
That's fine by me. Ayer would have been more at home with that. Have you seen how Ayer does action in his other movies?
Yeah.
It's very quick, very violent, and it's over.
You know what's funny? Can we just
enjoyed that?
Can we talk about how, like, did you see David Ayer said, number one, this is his director's cut. He loves this cut of the movie. He thinks it's awesome. And number two,
you're a liar, David.
And number two, there is no director's cut. The DVD will only have deleted scenes, but there won't be a finished version of the movie that is anything different from
That's
what we
okay.
get.
Someone on the internet will take care of that for me.
Maybe I'll cut it.
Of course.
Okay.
But
sure that David Ayer got kidnapped and taken to a basement somewhere underneath the marketing department.
That's not what happened. David
and
Ayer
he was waterboarded into agreeing.
David Ayer just follows Josh Trank on Twitter and saw all of Josh Trank's jobs and opportunities disappear when he went outside and decried the movies they took away from him. David Ayer's like, they just tranked me. But if I Josh Trank them by complaining about it on social media, they'll take Rogue One away from me.
And I can't.
You don't want that.
I want Rogue One.
And I want my Rogue One.
Yeah. So
You know what it is?
They're like, David, do you want your Rogue One taken away from you,
Yeah.
or
That was
or
literally
do you
just
go to your room and behave and make the correct Twitter update?
Josh Trank won't be
Up
making
to
any
you,
big budget
David.
movie ever again
Right.
because of what he
It's
did with
true.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
David Ayer is smarter and is like, yo, I got to make the movie. The money's still green.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make another.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
You know, it'll shock everybody when we find out David Ayer actually did have a small bomb at the base of his neck.
He's
and
a Suicide
DC
Squad
is
member.
holding it right now. It's like, better say it right. Better say it right.
Right.
The marketing department at Amanda Waller is actually based off of the entire marketing department.
Now,
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
is it true that there were multiple editors on this?
I heard
Yes.
that they had
Yeah.
so many editors, including a trailer editor
Who worked
Yeah.
on the actual
who did the
film.
final cut.
Now,
And the trailer editor from the marketing department did the final cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now see, now that I
'cause
don't
everyone
know
loved the
if that's. I'm totally on board with believing that it's always marketing. It feels like the problem with this was nobody knew what this final product should have looked like, because they had these almost two different movies. Because if you left all the Joker stuff in, that's a movie in and of itself, and then you actually have the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You know, and like I could imagine they had one cut that was more Joker heavy,
Yep.
one that had almost none of it in, and they brought this guy in because they're like, you made the trailer and everyone liked that.
That's right.
Fix it, because
make everyone like the
everyone
movie,
seemed
though.
to think that you got it. So
I feel like
do what
if
you
they
did,
just-
but longer.
Yeah.
Longer. I feel like if they had just let poor Mr. Ayer
Mr. A.
do what they paid him to do,
Yeah.
it would have been so much better.
And the saddest part is there is a great cut of the movie we're all talking about here. It's called Batman Assault on Arkham, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the best
Yeah.
version of this movie.
Yeah. It's funny.
Totally different plot, same characters.
Isn't it funny how Marvel is making, like, some would argue it's superior flicks. I'm not going to say that they are. I'm just saying some would argue that Marvel's making superior flicks with no name, down on their luck, or like rent-a-week directors.
Yep.
And they're working, but they have no they have no voice, they have no creative aspirations. They're just making movies. They're just like, whatever you want, mouse, I'll make the movie you want me to make. It is established by Edgar Wright's departure and no other, and Joss Whedon's like chip on his shoulder the size of Gibraltar. Like you've got those two people who are very creative with their own voice, and they get to say, and they get to have their voice or not, and then they get the axe. DC, Warner Brothers is like, we're gonna get these guys who have their own voice, and then we're gonna get marketing in there and just rob it from them. Like, why? Why not just get some terrible director to make your stupid Batman movies?
It
Brett
feels
Ratner's Batman.
exactly like that that oatmeal comic strip where it's like ways a computer design goes to hell.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the client eventually, you just become a mouse to the client for this really shitty, horribly lens flared design.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they're doing. They're treating these directors and these editors and these writers as basically cursors for these really long commercials of something that could be super, super good, but always either just barely falls short, as in Suicide Squad, like, okay, but it fell kind of short, or it's just a steaming pile of dog crap.
We haven't talked about El Diablo yet. How amazing was it that El Diablo ended up being one of the most interesting characters with the most complete story arc? You have to think Ayer, with all of his LA crime movies, saw something in the El Diablo character. Imagine if he got to do a Diablo feature.
Right? Well, hang on. And then he became a giant skeleton.
He became the demon.
And that was awesome.
And that was awesome.
Not a giant Aztec skeleton. That design was so cool.
He became a Doom villain just at the end. I'm like, I don't even care how
I'm down.
You're like,
Doom villain.
Yeah, that's fine. Slap a rocket launcher on his shoulder, let him go at it.
Well, we literally just did.
Cool.
We did kicked in the teeth on back issues, and so like we were literally talking about how cool and great El Diablo was, and how he looks just like he does in the movie. And I'm like,
yes.
And I'm like, so I'm prepared. I was like, I think he's gonna be pretty solid, and he was. And I'm like, he's literally the page character. That's awesome.
It was like he was lifted right out of the pages of Suicide Squad.
Except they weirdly changed his origin. They made him more of a monster.
They did.
Yes.
They're like, instead of him killing random women and children from a drug den, he killed his own women and children.
He basically has X-Men problems, and it's funny too, this idea of in a big summer actiony blow up everything testosterone fueled action flick, you have a character whose big character motivation is, no, I have seen the era of violence and I swear to a new thing of pacifism and non-violence. And I'm like, that's pretty ballsy.
He's the only one that was rehabilitated, and they're like, you're gonna have to unrehabilitate yourself there, Skippy.
Right, but that's genius on their part, because how do you sell a team of villains to people who don't understand what that is? You put someone on who did reform and does show that it can work, even though like it had nothing to do with the prison or the reform itself. It had to do with the inside. Yeah. But he gives hope that maybe the rest of them aren't so bad inside either. Like maybe the chick with the crazy makeup on, like it's
Yeah, except for Captain Boomerang, we know he's just a jerk.
They were very well balanced.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And even Rick Flag did not turn out to be that moral compass that we kind of thought he was going to be. No, he wasn't.
That was weird.
He turned out to be so spineless and weak and pitiable, but not in the way that you pity like an adorable puppy and you want to protect it and nurture it.
No, you pity like an ex.
In the way that you see a worm that's been washed up by the rain and it's like flipping around helplessly.
Dude's named Joel, am I right?
Yeah, guy's named Joel, man.
Yeah, what the hell?
I gotta tell you, like, I didn't take his character as being that pitiable. Like, I just, like, it was very obvious that, like...
He was overshadowed.
Well, no, I was gonna say, like, while the Suicide Squad had, like, these bombs in their necks that were keeping them tethered to this team, like, he had his own version of that in an actual human being. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, he had an emotional version of that. And so, like, his reaction to it, I think, was just a little different. And I kind of dug that. Like, literally everyone around Amanda Waller is, like, poisoned to some degree. Right. And, like, I was like, that's really cool to put that in there to show us that even the good guys get totally screwed over by this woman. I'm like...
Speaking of good guys...
A nice display.
Speaking of good guys, can we talk about Batman's cameo at the end of this? World's greatest detective can't do his own legwork for Justice League. Waller has to do it for him.
Yep.
Look, no one has claimed that the Batfleck is the world's greatest detective. I think we already know that.
The only thing we know, like, he's just a detective in as much as he actually tries to figure things out, unlike all the other Batman.
Yeah, he found evidence.
Yeah, he found evidence over there.
He tried real hard, that Batfleck.
Yeah.
Nice job making Batman a collaborator, too, in all the death and destruction of this movie. That's nice.
I did like, however, the very traditional Batman Waller moment where Batman's like, where, Batfleck goes, I know what you're doing. And Waller goes, yeah, I know what you're doing too. Come at me, Bruce.
Yeah.
Come at me, Bats.
Exactly. He's like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
She's
You're
like, I just want
scary,
to get
lady.
on the ground floor
can't
because I'm
wait to see a
pretty
college
sure you're gonna build a big
that.
spaceship in the sky,
Yeah.
and I really want in on that. I'm like,
Yeah.
gotta get in on that.
Space.
So there you go, guys. I mean, I think that's not a bad place
Wait,
to...
wait, hang on, real quick.
Oh, favorite moments.
Favorite moment,
What was your favorite moment from Just Suicide Squad?
Joel.
Oh, me first? I like that Ike Barinholtz gets to work in a big summer movie. I really like Ike Barinholtz. He's an underrated performer. I'm glad he had a part. Clearly, his end was cut because we see him in the first 2 scenes as the guard. Then we don't see him at the end of the movie, so
Yep.
clearly Joker killed him off screen
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, even the toys scene, we know that he was going to do something, and that was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Harley looks at him and goes, "You're so screwed. I was waiting for that satisfying he's gonna eat it."
Yeah, nah.
ending. And it never came, and I was like, "Why you gotta tease me like that?" No, I didn't pay for that.
Yeah. I liked all the Batman stuff. No,
I know you did.
I was just that was more like I was excited that there was Batman stuff. I liked how well the team worked together. It wasn't necessarily like a favorite moment as much as I just liked that so much of it worked.
Yeah.
Like it was all the characters worked and were believable. And it's sad that like it's just like it worked on a narrative level. And
Yeah.
I'm just happy that happened.
Thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just there were cool moments that I just really enjoyed. I love El Diablo. I love those characters all interacting with each other. Just very cool.
Yeah.
My favorite moment happened really early in the movie when Waller walks in and she's passing Harley's cage. Because it's not really a prison, it's
Yeah.
a cage. She's passing Harley's cage up on that walkway, and she's in her little red Hillary Clinton pantsuit and blazer, and she's looking down at Harley, like giving her this really neato burrito predatory side eye. And Harley's looking up at her with like all of these, little stars in her eyes. I can practically see the kira kira in the background. And she goes, "Are you the devil?" And Amanda Waller goes, "I might be." And Harley's like, "Wow."
Yeah, that was cool.
That was my favorite moment.
And they pushed that even further in the music video opening. What song is playing the first time we meet Amanda Waller? "Sympathy for the Devil" by
Yeah.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just love that moment because Amanda Waller is one of my all-time favorite characters in general.
She's very cool.
And the fact that she was so nailed
Yeah.
and that both
Yeah, she was
her
perfect.
and Harley were perfectly encapsulated in that moment.
Felt
Just-
good.
Before I move on to mine, I do want to mention that when that soundtrack started right in the beginning, about the 4th song in, I got really worried because I was like, "Oh no,
Is this where all the money went?
Not only did all the money go here, but you didn't have enough faith. You didn't have enough faith in what you had here." And then by the end, I was like, "All right, it's fine," but like that
It's
was
a
like,
lot of pop
that was
songs.
like Guardians of the Galaxy did it.
Yeah.
I don't care if they had a reason.
The first 20 minutes of this movie is its own YouTube tribute video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It really
I was
is.
actually kind of okay with that. I was like, this is a really good cosplay group. They've really nailed this.
Yeah, they're really committed.
Yeah,
A+.
very, very committed.
I was like, I can't wait to see these in the VMA competition later. It's really solid shit.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was like so many, like you said, like just fantastic moments between the team itself. Like hands down, like the bar scene was great.
Oh yeah.
That was really good.
I really liked the overall emotional arc for Deadshot, and as much as I wasn't a fan of the child actress that got to play his daughter, the moment where they're walking through the streets and he sees essentially the outfit she had been wearing, something very similar to it, and like you're like, well, this is the moment where he completely like flips the script and he realizes he's like, okay, I am a jerk, but I'm gonna make this work because like I care about this little kid more than I care about like killing people. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's really cool. Like in a very subtle sort of moment, like you encapsulated everything. I
They
need to know
show
about
they
him.
didn't tell. They
That
didn't
was a
have
really-
Yeah.
they didn't go like, then my daughter had an outfit just like
that
this.
was very mature of them.
Yes, I really appreciate that. It's something that
was
Zack
also
Snyder
a
would
good
not have been
example
able to
of
handle.
maturity too, I think.
Hmm?
Because it was that allowing that moment to be silent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Very,
by the way,
very-
nor did it like go ooh, and he like looks,
No.
and it takes 20 minutes for him to turn. 'cause
Nope. It's just a moment.
It was that glance, and it meant a lot.
yeah,
I really
Meant a lot.
Really
Dug
dug
it.
it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, also Harley Quinn's death drop from that helicopter.
that was cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot. That
Yeah.
was really cool.
that was very good. I also
And
like.
Deadshot was I missed, and I'm like, did he miss on purpose, or is Harley Quinn really just bananas?
No,
he
missed on purpose, and that I think goes
Yeah.
back to the cut scene that was in the hall.
Yeah, there must have been a scene where they really bonded, as opposed to like slightly
Yeah.
talked.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to slightly talk.
Slightly, you know.
They barely have a conversation where he's like, "Okay, so you're crazy." She's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Okay, cool. I guess I won't kill you
It's
in the future."
essentially he's like, "How's the weather outside?"
Yeah.
Well, they wanted
it's
to
nice.
include
Okay.
that Harley Quinn separating from the Joker, and then she immediately jumps Deadshot's dick. Like, I feel like they wanted that in there.
That
but
was
they were
cut.
But we want to over-romanticize the abusive relationship.
Yeah.
But we can't have both.
No.
Oh.
No, yeah, and like,
I
that
guess
could
we'll
have,
just kind of put both in.
you know, and with that random dream that they like her vision of what Enchantress would give her with the children. I mean, like that kind of works in like when you think about Deadshot's character caring about his daughter
Yeah.
and his family. Like you could see why that might be attractive to her because it's completely the opposite in a sense of the Joker, even though they both kill people.
It's kind of funny, though. There was one scene in that whole, like, dream sequence with her fantasy that kind of irked me because it felt so out of place. Because when you first see it, it kind of makes sense. But then when you rewatch it, you're like, this actually doesn't make much sense. And it's when she's being pulled out of the fantasy and she has this horribly disgusted look on her face. And she goes, I don't want that.
Yeah, like why wouldn't she want that?
And you're like, you would think if she was snapping out of a fantasy that she wanted, she would be like, oh, I don't want that. Or like maybe emoting differently, but not just utter disgust of whatever that is.
Unless they're implying that, like, for a moment, Enchantress cured her of her insanity.
Yeah, and it
Right.
depends on the
Yeah.
Harley that
Came out. Like,
Yeah.
the Harley that she returned to was like, I don't want to, like, because that's why he's not the Joker. He's just
Yeah.
a guy. Like,
But even in her flashback for the Suicide Squad movie, she's this overly ambitious little pissant who's, you know, really trying to make a name for herself,
Yeah.
who has some egoism and narcissism wrapped into her. I don't even think this version of Harley Quinn would want that, even if she wasn't totally bozo banana bonkers.
Yeah,
Right.
no, but I could see like there are some individuals who take pride in finding another individual who
requires assistance.
has a lot of status
Ah.
and can, you know, maybe you've already made your name, but now it's time to take care of the family because it's afforded to me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is that. I'm not saying that people who choose to live that life are bad in any way.
Oh, no,
I just
neither am
don't
I.
think
No.
it's Harley in any way.
I just-
in this particular
Right.
movie.
I think that comes from the cut scenes.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
It all comes back to that editing again.
yeah, and don't forget
supposedly.
they had left that random scene of like Jared Leto with all the guns, but then there was also the boy and girl onesies
Yeah.
in there too, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or that one scene where he's in a Hot Topic surrounded by Johnny the Homicidal Maniac replica knives.
Yep. That was stupid. So stupid. I was at that point. I would have laughed a lot, but I was already kind of like, it's not. This would be a minute. They should have just, if they were gonna cut so much Joker, cut it down to you never see Joker, and then at the end he breaks her out of prison. That's the end.
Yeah, that was perfect. That would have been perfect.
To bring it back to the dream just ever so briefly, did anyone else find it funny that the main three, they get, you know, what's your deepest heart's desire moment? Captain Boomerang and Katana are right there. And
Yeah, no, they don't get one.
Yeah.
No time.
Well, there's a time difference because she's from Japan and he's from Australia, so they
Yeah, it took a while
already
for
had it, and so
The
it's fine.
villain's defeated, and they get theirs like a day later.
They're like,
Yeah.
Oh.
3 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I like this version better.
So there you go, everybody. We just chatted about Suicide Squad. We
Also the
hashed
Flash
out-
was in there.
Also, Flash showed
Oh,
up.
the Flash,
So
the Flash was there for Diablo. Though.
I like that he. No, that was Captain Boomerang.
That was Boomerang.
Yeah, because it was his villain. We got to do Flash.
Which is a nice touch.
That was cute. I was like, and apparently it was just much like a lot of Warner Brothers movies. Just by accident, they were shooting Justice League and they had the costume.
Yep.
Aw.
I
But-
really thought they missed such a good joke with Captain Boomerang's fantasy.
Yeah.
I was so mad that I didn't get to see that joke. I was waiting for it.
It's
I was
just
mad at
his
wallabies and
unicorn.
Fosters.
I'm sad we didn't get enough Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
He was really funny and could have been really interesting.
I mean, one of my favorite things is watching Captain Boomerang die. Like, he's really funny, and then he dies in the most pointless, hilarious way, or becomes incapacitated in the most pointless, hilarious way.
Yeah.
And I missed it.
Oh. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on this edition of The Weekly Pull, starring Sea Monster, Joel, Tiffany, and myself. Benny and Rob are, if you missed the memo, on vacation in Disney World.
Together!
Together!
I want to be at Disney World.
Yeah, I would too.
I assume they're holding hands and skipping through the parks.
Aw.
Yes.
It's adorable.
Yeah, right?
And they'll be there for a while, so we'll see you
They
guys.
live there now.
Yeah, that's...
They live in the swamp there.
Yeah. But join us on Thursday for The Pull, where we're going to talk about comics, very specifically comics that came out this week, and we'll see you guys next time. But why don't we take this minute to tell everybody where you're from, where they can find all your greatest stuff. Joel, kick it off.
Well, I'm Cape Joel, and you can find me over on the channel Cape Joel. I do weekly reviews. I cover some television stuff and talking about the newest Steven Universe roll-up. Man, that's a fun show. Good show. If you haven't been watching it, you should start. You can also hear the Comic Multiverse tomorrow at 8, so check that one out as well.
Sea Monster, what's up?
Hi, guys. Well, I guess hi again. I've been here a while. But I'm That Sea Monster, and you guys can find me over on YouTube at That Sea Monster Comics, spelled with the letter C, or you can find me at That Sea Monster pretty much anywhere. Facebook, Tumbles, Instagram, Twitter, all of those wonderful platforms. So if you guys want to follow me, it's That Sea Monster and That Sea Monster Comics. I do a late night show called Bedtime Stories, where we basically have a good old-fashioned comic book stitch and bitch and talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. I do live unboxings, comic book reviews, answer all of your questions with my encyclopedic knowledge of Harley Quinn, and I also do Senpai Notice You based giveaways. So I hope to see you guys over there. It's Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 a.m. Central Time, 1 a.m. Eastern Time.
Nice. Good plug.
Yeah, I nailed it this time.
Yeah. And,
Usually it's like, I do YouTube.
I'm on YouTube. Watch me.
You get a gold star.
And I'm Sal, and this is Tiffany. We're from ComicPOP. We do 5 shows about comics a week. Come on by and check us out. Thursday is our biggest show. It's called Back Issues. Today we're going to be, or that episode, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest, smashiest Marvel books ever. So check it out. It's going to be fun.
It's the biggest, smashiest book ever.
I like it.
We also have a podcast called The Elseworlds Exchange, which you can catch on Wednesdays live at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right.
And yeah, lots of other shows, including Powers, Done in Ones, where we talk about a character in just a minute. Comic Fights, where we debate a topic. We just did that today. It came out this morning, so check it out over on comicpop.net or everywhere where comic pops are found. So
That's right.
thank you guys for watching this episode of the Weekly Pull, and we'll see you guys next time. I was about to say my show. I'm not going to, though. So, yeah.
Do it.
Thanks
It's a
lot.
great plug. Do it.
This show I borrowed from Benny.
Yep, thanks, Betty, for the show.
But he borrowed it from Rob, though.
Yeah, he did.
He just never gave it back, like that lawnmower.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
Secret Origins.
Good thing I didn't bring an umbrella for all of this mild shade.
So long, everybody. Bye.